and welcome to the next episode of Woodward's Watercolours. It is March. It is really quite cold. It's about 6 degrees, but it is a beautiful blue sky here in North Belfast, and I'm going to take you on the journey down to Castlewellan Forest Park, which is this gorgeous place. I've been there many times throughout my life. It has this beautiful lake. You can do this walk around the lake, and it has this gorgeous castle. I have the largest piece of watercolour paper I've ever worked on, which is this A1 size 350 GSM cold press. Of course, it is Seawhite of Brighton paper. I have it stretched on plywood, and I've got even my little buggy with me to bring all this stuff, and I'm really looking forward to being down here and painting on this. Now, I'm going to use the Derwent Inktense pencils and the Derwent Inktense blocks just to be able to lay down and hopefully keep it nice and fluid. I am a little bit nervous, and I have some thoughts. Now, I do hold them captive, but I have some thoughts of, wasting the paper and all this kind of stuff. And I guess I want to out that elephant and normalize that. Anyway, we're going to go down and we're going to enjoy doing this, and I'm going to have my little camping stove. I'm going to make coffee this time with a little stovetop espresso maker. I know, fancy, and my fancy mug. Anyway, we're going to enjoy that, but come on with me. We're going to make this drive down. It's about an hour and 10 minutes of a drive. Obviously to you it won't be that, but to me it will be. So we'll see you down there. So let's go. Now here we are, we've arrived. Absolutely beautiful spot. You can see my little trolley with absolutely everything in it. And I'm gonna spin it round in a little section actually. Let me just do that now. Now, isn't that a beautiful place to come and paint? And it looks so still. So as always, what I'm gonna do first of all is I'm gonna send the drone up. You can get some lovely views that you wouldn't get if you were just walking around. Can you tell how excited I am to get the drone up this time? So let's do that, and then I'll get all set up, and then we can paint this beautiful scene together. See you in a minute. So I'm starting to get all set up. Hopefully you enjoyed the drone footage as much as I enjoyed taking it. So what I'm going to do first, we're using this lovely little stovetop espresso today. And I've got my water with me. Now see if I can get the water pouring in. I'm sure there's a much quicker way I can do this, as in just pour it in calm. Pour the water in the bottom. This is where I'm insulting all of your intelligence. For those of you who do this more than I do, you put the wee Diffle donger in, set it on the top, got my coffee from the home in its container to that home from home feel. My metal scooper, trusty metal scooper. Now normally I would try and make my filter stuff with 3 scoops, but it looks like only 2 scoops are going to fit in there. But you'll love the mug. So what I then do is I squeeze, or not squeeze. That would be helpful if I could actually do this gracefully, wouldn't it? So much of life isn't graceful. So that's it all screwed in. Pop it on the little stove here. Make sure my gas is on and we're lit, and that's us ready to go. Now, you'll see the mug in a wee second. This is the little setup I was telling you about, and this is the mug. Born and bred in Ireland. I think it was knocked down in the shop, born and bred. We couldn't resist it because it had Ireland in it. Northern Ireland would be even better, but we'll go with Ireland's alright. So this is just going to bubble away here. So what I'm going to do first is actually, let me flip the camera around. So what I want to do first, and to sort of ease myself into the scene a little bit more, is to use this this pen brush that Toby sent me. It's actually from Japan, and this awkward little book that I've used sometimes, but I have to confess I haven't absolutely loved. So what I want to do first of all is just squeeze a bit of ink onto this. There we go, and the brush. Look at the lovely feel that you're getting. It feels like you're writing in Japanese symbols just as you're drawing and getting the scene. The lovely bit about it is I find that it's really hard to be accurate with, so you just have to go with it and see if you can find a landscape in front of you and a landscape that you're happy with. Now, the other thing is with this is a good recce around the actual scene before we get into it, and it's a nice way to just try and get some feel for it. So this is the scene that's up in front of me. Absolutely beautiful. So you're getting this sort of dipping down almost into valley like, and then back up again, and then this sort of almost like a sausage kind of oblong shape that's just in front of you, if that's something that I want to capture. And part of this bit for me of the process, and sometimes what I love doing, is this, where you go over, let me squeeze more, so you squeeze the pen and the ink falls in, and then probably is going to drip out. But what I really love doing is whenever I'm not, just enjoying the paper and going with that whole idea that only wasted paper is the one that we don't use. Just trying to get some marks of the scene that's in front of us. It's a beautiful day, really quite exceptionally cold, I have to say, but beautiful nonetheless. And this holding it back as well, and the kind of shakiness of the lines can be somewhat annoying or off-putting, but unless you just go with that, which is what I want to do, particularly whenever I'm going to be using this really, really big scene. Now, that was meant to be a correcting line, but it's actually all right. It's not really bothering me. I can hear the coffee starting to go. Should be all going right through there now. I'll be making for a lovely rich cup of coffee. Okay, so second bit, just getting used to using the page and enjoying the page, not being totally consumed with, well, my goodness, this has to be absolutely right, and then picking out some other just little sections that I might want to try and capture, and the placement on the page can really indicate real strength and composition as well. Just not feeling the need to fill the entire page, or and getting into that mode, getting me ready for working on this larger piece, so that I'm not totally. Then if we can go closer, then we can get a finer line. Look at that, and then those trees. Right, I better go and attend to my coffee before it explodes. But just gives you this idea. Now for the moment of truth. Oh, the beautiful amber nectar. And we're just gonna pour it in here. I already had my milk powder, which I really am a big fan of. Love a bit of milk powder. I know it's not maybe the most popular thing in the world, but for me certainly feels like it acts like a creamer, which is really nice. My trusty spoon is falling on the ground, but Sorry about the angle. Oh, I'm trying to reach for the spoon. I'm not going to worry about that. It's nice and hot anyway. So what I'm going to do now is just enjoy this coffee, enjoy the scene, and then we'll get into painting on this rather large A1 piece. So I wanted to show you this. I thought I would just play about a little bit while I was enjoying my coffee. So it's this scene in front of me here, just a little bit over to the left where the trees are, and I wanted to really simplify it. Now it looks like Japanese symbols, but here's the larger trees coming down to the smaller, and then just the line of the horizon and the line of those trees. Just trying to distill it down to the simplest thing can be really enjoyable and really effective, especially when you just leave it and stop there. Okay, so this is it. Coffee was beautiful, by the way. This is the scene that we're going to be doing today. So what I've done is I've set the board, so as you can see it's stretched watercolour paper. I've set the board just directly on the ground, and what we're going to try to do is record this from above rather than it being around my neck, so that there's more freedom to kind of move around. The page, as you can see, is well stretched. It's really, really nice and taut. And it means that then there shouldn't be really any buckling whenever we're moving for this. Now, what I've got today is got some Inktense blocks, which are just great to get started. So I think that's where we'll begin. So we're just gonna jump into this scene. We're just gonna notice different parts of it so far. Find different areas, get the basic really of it. Use that nice and lightly just to kind of capture what you can all see. Okay, just with me being here, I'm confident we can. So anyway, we'll move it down, round across to get some of these trees. So we're going to just this is a really nice thing. It's a lovely bit of paper. You can see there's some heavy machinery coming down here. Just want to check where we are in this tininess. It's probably going to get to the point where some people are going to come down and be around for some of this, which could be quite nice. Get some interest. I always really enjoy that, as you all know from many of the lives that you've seen me do. Okay, so keeping it nice and light, just moving this scene across here. These bigger trees that come up, and also some of these trees that come up here. Some of these darker marks there, darker sort of sinks coming up there. It's going across, and then it's much darker down there as well. Okay, so fill in some of these darker areas. This the Inktense block is just absolutely, as you imagine, totally packed full with pigment. I've got this one here, which I'm not sure. It's probably like a sienna. It's the number 1800, and the one that I was using there was 1600. It's more like the stumbling block. This one is the 1200. So just notice. So this bit here is coming across. So it really is finding your bearings on it. And remember, this is Inktense, so you don't need to overdo whatsoever. You can use the side of it here just for some other bits that are pungent with colour, you know. Okay, so let's go in. Okay, so we've got the light olive, got the dark, and what's this one? We've got the oak. The oak is going to be really helpful. I'm holding it back as well to be able to get a
consistency. Now, interestingly, it acts so differently on the page than the actual block does, because you see the block is nearly depositing more. So the amber is 1710. Just getting it in some of these trees up around here. I have loads of amber. Actually, when you look back, the amber, and I'm stretching across here, as you can see, which is also going to change the quality of the line that I'm doing. Okay, and just trying to see, okay, where is some of this olivine? Lovely olivine. The olivine, it's the 1340. Just outside of that, this is, it's coming right up to these lines here. The lines that start to expose themselves, and they're coming through the hills that are surrounding this. Just trying to get some of these things in here. Hopefully you can hear me okay. There's this one tree over here. It seems to be always the feeling of fighting particularly when you're doing a video out in public, there is an element of fighting the consciousness of being a bit self-conscious of what you're doing, but you know, it's a joy to just get out here and do this. You know, it's really enjoyable. You can see, hopefully I'm beginning to build up this scene. That's what I want to do. I'm going to move across to mustard. I want this one, which is the hopefully baked earth. Starting to get to know them. 1800. And baked earth is very, reminds me of, every time I think of it, I think of baked beans. Baked earth, baked beans. So if I can find this one is the bark 2000. Now if I can find the bark here, it is 2000. You actually really discovered today with the numbers on the sides of these as well. Just wanted to get some of those darker lines. And across here as well, because the bark is decidedly dark. And this bit across here as well with its trees moving around, so just give it a little bit of a scrub of colour here. Not really wanting the black in, but I do want, I'm trying to find this colour that I'm looking for. This one. That's a little black. Let's go for the willow is what we're looking for. That's the colour that I'm trying to find here. So the thing about really light side as well is the colours are constantly changing. This is the secret, which is just lovely. It's a great experience being out in public. I was going to say really sharpen this one. I'm amazed how differently these act rather than the intense blocks. Intense blocks feel much more like pastel-y in what they're doing, which is really enjoyable. It's actually feels far nicer than the way that these are acting on the page. But hopefully the mix of these two is going to provide some interest, a nice kind of blending together. Just trying to get some of these shapes of these trees, and again, you notice as I'm pressing on it, you'll see how much the stretching of the paper is going to be very beneficial when it comes to adding the water. Just noticing some of these trees that are dotting across along here. Because it's bigger, it's forcing me to be more expressive, keeping lines really nice and simple, which is really lovely to do. There's something wonderful about feeling Now, I'm going to try and get who it is across this lake. So this is Iris Blue 0900. There's all these bits of this which are probably this line across here. Look at all this. We'll have all of this space here now. Not necessarily quite like the idea of being framed in this, being sort of contained within this space here. So I'm not overly concerned about that. The thing is with this one, this feels like it's going which way. More kind of feels like it's going more like the blocks one. Just trying to see the red rock in my hand there, just trying to get some sort of semblance. And there's the it's changing again. Goodness me. There's so much keeping up with this. And there is this the green down there and then the green. Oh, just broke it. No. Oh. Getting too excited. And then the green and some bits across here as well. So actually whenever this is broken and sharper, I'm going to bring some of that in here. Just moving it along and filling some of these areas. And there's some these things down there. There's some sort of semblance of these trees here. Greens. It's from the shadows into the water as well. It's trying to notice all these things as you go. Trying to keep up with the landscape as it changes and changes, you know. Okay, so we've got, do you know what? Let's bring it further down here. I'm using the side of the pencil to give these sort of sways in the water. I'll tell you how liberating it is just to be working away on something this size. Just enjoying it. And, you know, putting the colours down. Now this is the really light limey green. And you can just do it as a little highlight in a couple of places here. We need to use that's the oak. Let's go in with the oak actually. Some of these sections here, you know, using the side of them might be able to the best ways to capture and to cover greater areas as possible. I mean, it's nice to be able to get in some of these details here because you've got the sharpness of the pencil rather than just the blocks. Sky, it's such a beautiful blue sky there. I think that the best thing to do is to use the Irish blue. To use it to really. Now, what we'll be able to do is to pull some of this further down and in with the watercolour, and we can also use the charcoal. Now, the charcoal doesn't run as far as I know. The outliner doesn't run. So we can begin to, you know, just get some of those shapes of those little clouds that are dotting themselves across here. Just giving some semblance of shape. Do you know, one of the people that recently I've been looking lots at is Matisse. Because Matisse's quality is just so still down. actually what we can do is the marks that have been made by the block. So there's no head over there. The marks that have been made by the block we can connect in with the pencil. somebody really isn't happy with it. Really, really not happy. Okay, let's go for the beach green 1510. Doesn't not love how the beach green goes on nicely, doesn't it? I feel like it really goes on as well as the blocks do, particularly for this kind of size. I think that's what it is when it comes to this size. It just feels like it's far better to use the blocks. So I'm going to go back to the block here for this section. Now that's really darkened down, and again it's up to me as to whether do I want to keep it as dark as it seems over there. I think I do. I think I really like that actually. I like the dark that area is. Just going to use the Inktense blocks to really get that darkened down. There's a little bit of light coming through across there, pitching down into towards the sort of valley area. It's trying to find the point to know when to stop. Because actually, you know what? I'm going to use some of this. This is what number is this one? 1100. So this is going to be a really rich and deep blue. So I'm going to use some of it in the middle of this. Try and pull out some of those darker areas. These trees are here. And also the dark, like the Impressionists did. They like to use black. They wanted to use rich blues and things to be able to. Now this side as well, I need to really notice the shadow on the water on this side. Let's get some of this blue down here. Now we're starting to make more courageous choices the more we get into this, which is nice. Let's get this green coming in more confidently. And then this green here and sweeping across here, using the side of it to be able to get that. You know, that might be a technique to use up here to try and get that in. Okay, so we want to take the block, or the bark as well. To use it. I'm delighted now that I know that you can find this by just looking at the side of it as well. Now the other thing is use a lighter tool. Trees. Now this could be a tool. It's match with different colours, which will work. So guys, really. Going around and jumping in the marketplace. Okay, so really don't want to spend forever on this. This is the kind of clean up these for now. Trusting collapsible water pot by Faber-Castell. See some of the people coming off my hands there. I want to go here for the sky first of all. Exactly that. This would be really messy and free here. Being able to move this across and move around. Now the more that this one reminds me of a makeup brush, but the more that I can move it around, agitate it off the page, then the more it's going to just kind of be able to back and revisit that with those. Now, what I want to do here is switch brushes across to this 2-inch one. With it, I'm going to generously move it across here. Let it move together with that kind of a rocking motion that you get with the water. The lovely thing about this kind of size as well is that I've got so much to work with. I can really drip the water on, and I can change the angle of the brush as well. It's going to keep, let's give it a wee bit of a rinse, and it's going to keep the pigment on it, move it around. The mixture of those blues is nice, and then being able to pull that across, really throw on the water down off here. Let's follow these. This is a lovely brush to use, not that I use it that much to be honest, but it is a lovely brush to use. So you really give me that sort of sense of, because it's a larger size, it's going to, let's be generous there, the slot on the let that move about a bit. Sometimes with water as well, because you're representing water, it's letting it be water, and this line here is coming way out in the middle. You want to let those two play together. Now, for this bit, part of me's tempted to switch. Part of me's tempted to switch to the smaller one. So this is roughly half the size. So this is obviously 2 inch and this is 1 inch. But the thing about, well, I'll tell you what, I'll start here at this side. Just begin to use the brush to create some sense of these trees here. Hello guys, really not happy. Well, we may be a parent or with a child, eh? The thing, let me see, just activate this, but with the Inktense block, it's a whole other level because, and as well, working with a brush this size is great too because it's going to move around in a much more powerful. Put too much water on that one there. We've already thrown caution to the wind with the size, and it really does get rid of your inhibitions because when I switch brushes to this one, because I'm already working over this on a much bigger scale, and just really wanting to enjoy the process, giving up on the notion of wasting the page. I'm just going to enjoy how this turns out, whatever this turns out like, because there is the possibility that I might go, no, I didn't really think that went very well, but the other side of it is just enjoying, it's great, and being able to lift, because it's the Inktense, being able to lift indicate different lines, effectively draw with the brush here. Messy, feels illustrated, and I am actually really quite pleased with that. Quite pleased that I haven't used that lovely rich dark blue coming into play there. It's over here as well, so I'm actually pulling it from different sections. I'm just going to pull down here to give it a little bit more of a defined edge. Move that back up again over. And then across here. This in here. So this is the baked earth. Now hopefully what will happen with the baked earth and this together is a movement in together of both of these. colouring. Whereas these lines over here becoming, look at that exposed, let me onto that lighter, distinguishable section here. Just going on. Somebody's enjoying the motorbike. So that's, I think that must be the Olivine now. Section here. So I got some fishermen coming into the mix. Okay, so think of it. Let's get in just a little bit more of a darker, richer blue here. Let's put some of these other lines across. So obviously when you're drawn with it, it's because I think that really just adds some marks or adding them from colour. This might be my favourite one. It's 1100. If anybody knows them off by heart, you can tell me what 1100 is, but just to get this separation of these some of the green here and let these two mix in together. Let them move about. I'll also bring it over here. Just some of these trees. And that's where we're going to finish for today. And one last thing. Do that in Payne's Grey, called 25. I'm walking away because there's some fishermen that their language isn't the best. Very funny, their language isn't the best. Anyway, I am actually really pleased with what I did today. It is definitely more illustrated than I expected it would be. But because of the sheer size and the materials that we were using, that's where it ended up. And I think this whole fear that there is present of using large pieces of paper because they're more expensive, being concerned about wasting them, is just so unhelpful. So I'm really glad that I did use that big bit of A1 that had sat stretch for a couple of weeks, and I was thinking, yeah, you know, all these thoughts of pressure as to what needed to go on it. So you can tell me what you think. You might not like it, might not be your thing. One of the fishermen came to look at it and he just sort of looked at it and really didn't say very much, and I thought, well, I'm happy with it. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time to be with me in this beautiful place. As always, don't forget to hit the little bell icon at the top, which will notify you of any videos that are dropping. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and for information about me, all the different things I do, and portfolio of my work, head to www.woodwardswatercolours.co.uk. But thanks for watching. It's been certainly a different one in this absolutely beautiful place. I mean, not a bad way to spend your morning, really. And I'm going to go and have some hammages with beautifully slow cooked ham in it and salad. I'm just excited to sit down and eat it. Thanks for watching. I also am doing channel membership.
channel membership will give you some perks, but also it's primarily a means to just help support me while I'm doing this channel. So thank you for those who are members, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye for now.